In an interview published by Politico this past week, former Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy came out with his harshest criticism and accusations against Matt Gaetz to date. Now, this feud between Kevin McCarthy and Matt Gaetz has been going on for over a year now, right? After all, Gaetz is the one who eventually successfully kicked McCarthy out, and it's because McCarthy wouldn't stop the House ethics investigation into Matt Gaetz. So McCarthy gets kicked out of the speakership, retires from Congress at the end of December. But McCarthy has maintained close ties with a lot of his Republican friends in the House. And that is why, as I've said repeatedly, when he comes out and says these things about Matt Gaetz and makes these allegations against Matt Gaetz, it's not because he's just trying to slander him. It's because he's familiar with the investigation. Now, that doesn't mean it's true. Okay, I want to put that caveat out there. But for somebody who knows what evidence that House Ethics Committee has and still communicates regularly with those people, he was up there meeting with them about a month ago, I say we take him, at least a little bit at his word here. But here is what McCarthy said about Matt Gaetz during that interview. Gaetz is the Hunter Biden of the Republican Party. He's got an opponent who is a pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, trained at Pensacola, went to the Naval Academy and flew jets to defend us, while Gaetz was getting kicked out of high school, buying coke, and paying minors for sex. Now, McCarthy didn't say allegedly. He said Gaetz was getting kicked out of high school, buying drugs, and paying underage girls for sex. And again, this is a guy who has seen what the House Ethics Committee has. He has seen the evidence. He has heard the allegations. And he's not saying allegedly. He's saying these things happened. Now, I've never heard anything about Matt Gaetz getting kicked out of high school. That is new to me. I haven't seen anything about that. So that I'm willing to say, I don't think that happened. I feel like if he was kicked out of high school, probably something we would have known about a long time ago, right? So I can't find anything to validate that. But here's an interesting thing that I don't think anybody's thought of yet. You see, Kevin McCarthy has been making these claims against Matt Gaetz for several months now. Again, not alleging that Gaetz did this, coming out and flat out saying that Matt Gaetz did these things. And so far, he hasn't even been threatened with a lawsuit. Because even though Matt Gaetz is, of course, a public official, so the bar for defamation, slander, and libel is higher, accusing somebody of the things that McCarthy says Gaetz did, that absolutely fits that high bar. So if it is untrue, Matt Gaetz could very easily sue him for defamation and win. But Gaetz hasn't even threatened a lawsuit. He hasn't done any of that. Doesn't that seem weird to you? I mean, if somebody were out there spreading this kind of vicious information about you and you knew it was untrue, wouldn't you sue them? I would. I at least threaten a lawsuit to see if they back off, but Gaetz hasn't done that. That seems very weird to me. It also seems very telling to me. Maybe it's untrue. Maybe McCarthy's making this up. Maybe he's not. We don't know. We have to wait until we get that report from the House Ethics Committee. But in the meantime, Gaetz could sue him for this, and he's not. Maybe it's because Matt Gaetz understands that if he sues it, he has to go to court and prove that it's false. McCarthy doesn't have to prove that it's true. Gaetz has to prove that it's not. So maybe that's why he hasn't filed a lawsuit. Either way, I am very much enjoying this beef between McCarthy and Gaetz, and I hope it continues because Gaetz does now have a pretty tough primary challenger on the Republican side. Probably no better at the end of the day than Matt Gaetz is, but Gaetz, I kind of hold just a personal dislike of this guy, and I would love to see him no longer serving in office. Hey everybody, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we are closing in on a pretty major milestone here at Fair and Balanced as we approach 500,000 subscribers. But we're not there yet, and we definitely need your support. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, like and comment on the videos and share them as widely as possible.